What if I told you that some UK cities are becoming almost unlivable? And fast. In the past 5 years, violent crime has skyrocketed by over 80% in certain parts of the UK. Some cities now have higher burglary and assault rates than major urban centers in the US. Others are dealing with collapsing public services, bankruptcy, and an exploding cost of living that's forcing everyday people out of their homes. It's not just headlines, it's real, and it's happening right now. In this video, we'll reveal the 10 UK cities you must seriously consider leaving before 2026. Some may shock you. One was once a booming tourist hub. Another is a city where life expectancy has dropped below the national average. And one of them, yes, the capital itself, is becoming a playground only the ultra-rich can afford. So why are these cities spiraling downward? What's pushing families out in record numbers? And could your city be next? Stay with us, because the deeper we go, the more alarming the picture becomes. And when we get to number 1, trust me, it'll make you question everything. Let's dive in. Number 10, Luton. Luton, once a thriving industrial hub just 30 miles north of London, is now making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Once known for car manufacturing and its proximity to the capital, today it's a city many residents are desperately trying to leave behind. The most alarming concern? Crime. Luton's crime rate is significantly higher than the national average. Knife crimes, gang activity, and antisocial behavior have surged, especially among younger populations. A recent report by Bedfordshire Police revealed that certain areas of Luton now experience up to 3 times more violent incidents than the regional average. But crime isn't the only issue. Luton is struggling with overcrowding and a strained housing market. According to the Office for National Statistics, the city ranks among the top 10 most overcrowded in the UK. Families are being squeezed into poor-quality housing with little access to green spaces or modern infrastructure. Rental prices are climbing, yet the average wage hasn't kept pace, pushing more and more households into financial stress. Public services are feeling the pressure too. NHS wait times are growing, schools are oversubscribed, and funding cuts are making things worse. Luton Borough Council has already issued warnings about major service reductions in the coming years. So why is no one talking about it? Luton's challenges are real and worsening. And while its airport continues to grow and bring in traffic, life for the average local is getting harder by the day. Experts warn that if current trends continue, Luton could become one of the least desirable cities to live in by 2026. If you're living in Luton or thinking of moving there, it's time to take a hard look at the numbers and the future. Number 9, Bradford. Bradford is a city with deep roots in British history, once celebrated as a textile powerhouse and cultural hotspot in West Yorkshire. But today, many of its residents feel forgotten and increasingly frustrated. Bradford consistently ranks among the poorest cities in the UK. In fact, recent government data shows that over 26% of its population lives below the poverty line. That's more than 1 in 4 people struggling to get by, with many households facing food insecurity, energy debt, and long-term unemployment. Youth unemployment is especially high in Bradford. With limited job opportunities and underfunded education, many young people feel trapped in a cycle that's hard to escape. The city has also suffered from decades of chronic underinvestment. Public spaces are crumbling, local transport systems are outdated, and access to quality healthcare is becoming harder for many residents. Crime has followed. Areas like Manningham and Little Horton report regular incidents of drug dealing, theft, and violent behavior. Community leaders have raised concerns that the lack of opportunities is directly fueling the city's growing social unrest. Despite repeated promises from local and national politicians, real change feels slow or non-existent, and the frustration is boiling over. If you've lived in Bradford or know someone who does, you've probably seen these problems up close. The city's rich heritage can't shield it from the harsh realities of the present. Do you agree that Bradford is on the decline? Or do you think it still has a chance to recover? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to keep getting real, researched updates like this one, Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We've got a lot more truth to uncover. Stay tuned. Number 8. Middlesbrough. Let's be brutally honest. Middlesbrough is in trouble, and not the kind of trouble that goes away with a new shopping center or a few headlines about regeneration. This is a city that's been quietly bleeding for decades. Once the pride of Teesside, Middlesbrough was built on steel, shipping, and industry. But when those industries collapsed, so did the city's backbone. What's left now is a community trying to survive while the rest of the country barely notices. Unemployment here isn't just high, it's generational. In some neighborhoods, finding a family without long-term joblessness is rare. And with few opportunities to break the cycle, many young people are either moving away or giving up entirely. But here's where things get darker. Middlesbrough has some of the highest rates of drug-related deaths in the UK. Emergency services are stretched thin, and support programs can't keep up. Addiction, mental health crises, and poverty aren't separate problems here. They're tangled together in a way that makes progress feel almost impossible. And the stats back it up. The Office for National Statistics has listed Middlesbrough among the top 5 most deprived local authorities in the UK. The life expectancy here is 4 years lower than the national average. Think about that. Where you live could literally take years off your life. Some people still believe Middlesbrough can bounce back, and maybe someday it will, but right now, the cracks are deep and they're spreading. The question is no longer, when will it get better? It's, how much worse can it get before something finally changes? Number 7. Blackpool. You've probably heard the name Blackpool and thought of bright lights, seaside charm, and the iconic tower. But behind the glittering postcards and faded memories of summer holidays, Blackpool is dealing with a crisis no one wants to talk about. This is a town caught between nostalgia and neglect. While tourists come for weekend getaways, residents face a very different reality, one marked by economic hardship, crumbling housing, and a mental health emergency that has made national headlines. Blackpool has one of the highest suicide rates in England. That's not a statistic. That's a sign of deep, widespread suffering. Decades of decline in tourism and industry have left behind a vacuum, and it's been filled with poverty, addiction, and hopelessness. Many of the hotels and guest houses that once lined the promenade have been turned into emergency accommodation or low-cost housing, often unregulated and unsafe. For some, these places become a trap, not a fresh start. The town also struggles with some of the UK's highest rates of alcohol and drug abuse. According to Public Health England, Blackpool ranks at the top for alcohol-related hospital admissions. Local services are doing their best, but they're overwhelmed and underfunded. And education? The outcomes here are some of the worst in the country. Children growing up in Blackpool face limited prospects before they've even had a chance to dream. Blackpool still has its charm. The sunsets are still stunning. The pier still stands. But for many residents, those bright lights don't mean opportunity anymore. They just remind them of what's been lost. It's not just a rough patch. It's a warning sign. Number 6. Leicester. Leicester is a city that's always prided itself on diversity, resilience, and progress. It's one of the most multicultural cities in the UK and has often been celebrated as a model of integration and cultural harmony. But recently, a much different story has started to emerge, one that's raising serious concerns. Tensions in Leicester have reached a boiling point. In 2022, the city was shaken by waves of unrest between different community groups. What began as a series of isolated incidents quickly spiraled into street clashes, vandalism, and widespread fear. For many residents, it felt like the city's unity, something it was once known for, had cracked overnight. But the unrest is just one piece of a larger problem. Leicester is facing economic pressure from every side. Inflation, stagnant wages, and rising energy costs are hitting households hard. The housing market is out of balance, with rising rents and growing demand outpacing supply. Families are being priced out of the very neighborhoods they grew up in. Public services are stretched thin. School funding has dropped. Healthcare access is strained. And local authorities have warned that more cuts are coming unless new funding is secured. It's a city that feels like it's holding on, but only just. Many Leicester residents say they no longer recognize the place they call home. Fear of future unrest, a rising cost of living, and declining services are all combining into a powerful reason to reconsider staying. Leicester hasn't fallen off a cliff, but it's edging closer. And the scariest part? No one seems sure what's going to stop it. Number 5. Birmingham. Birmingham, the UK's second-largest city, a place of industry, innovation, and ambition. But in 2023, it made headlines for a reason no city ever wants: bankruptcy. Officially, the city council declared itself effectively broke, unable to meet its financial obligations. The result? A wave of budget cuts that hit every corner of daily life. Rubbish collection slowed to a crawl. Public facilities shut their doors. Repairs and services were postponed indefinitely. For many Brummies, it felt like the city just gave up. But this financial collapse didn't come out of nowhere. Years of poor management, costly equal pay claims, and rising demand for services created a perfect storm. The city was already stretched thin. The bankruptcy just made it official. And the impact has been personal. Libraries have closed. Park maintenance has been cut. Entire neighborhoods feel neglected. Youth centers and social support programs, lifelines for many, are now gone. In the meantime, residents are paying more in council tax, but getting less in return. Morale is low, and crime is rising. As confidence in local leadership fades, many families are left wondering if Birmingham is still a good place to build a future. Despite all this, Birmingham still carries a sense of pride. The people are resilient, the culture is rich, and the spirit of the city hasn't disappeared. But when you combine economic collapse, declining services, and increasing social pressure, even the proudest communities begin to falter. Birmingham isn't just struggling, it's being stripped down piece by piece, and unless something drastic changes, the damage may take generations to undo. Number 4. Stoke-on-Trent. Stoke-on-Trent, often affectionately called the Potteries, used to be one of the beating hearts of British manufacturing. Its ceramics were world-renowned, its factories busy, and its working-class pride unmatched. But what happens when the industry that built a city fades into history? Stoke has been trying to answer that question for years. The decline of manufacturing didn't just take away jobs, it took away identity. Entire generations have grown up in the shadow of empty kilns and shuttered warehouses. And while other cities have pivoted to tech, finance, or culture, Stoke has struggled to reinvent itself. Today, the city faces a combination of economic and social challenges that few outsiders truly understand. Wages here remain among the lowest in England. Unemployment is high, and many of the jobs that do exist are low-skill, low-pay, and unstable. Then there's education. Stoke ranks among the worst-performing areas in the UK when it comes to GCSE results and higher education attendance. The future is being limited before it even begins. Public health is another major concern. Obesity rates are high, mental health services are stretched, and life expectancy lags behind the national average. For many, access to quality healthcare feels more like a gamble than a guarantee. And as if that weren't enough, many town centers across Stoke's 6 towns are slowly emptying out. Shops are closing. High streets are quiet. Hope feels harder to find. Stoke-on-Trent isn't in freefall, but it's dangerously close to stagnation. And unless serious investment and vision arrive soon, it risks becoming a city defined not by what it is, but by what it used to be. Number 3. Southampton. At first glance, Southampton doesn't seem like a city in decline. It has a bustling port, a major university, and strong transport links. But peel back the surface, and a different picture emerges. One of environmental risk, rising inequality, and growing public frustration. Let's start with geography. Southampton is a coastal city, and that's becoming a serious problem. According to the UK Climate Risk Assessment, the city is one of the most at-risk areas in England for sea level rise and flooding. Experts warn that by the early 2030s, large parts of the city could face regular tidal flooding without massive infrastructure investment. Investment that still hasn't fully materialized. Then there's the air. Southampton consistently ranks among the worst UK cities for air pollution. Nitrogen dioxide levels are dangerously high, driven by shipping, heavy traffic, and industrial activity. Public Health England has directly linked local air quality to rising respiratory illness rates among children and the elderly. Add to that a sharp spike in housing costs, and you get a city where young families and working professionals are struggling to stay afloat. New builds are priced far beyond average incomes, while older housing stock remains neglected and poorly insulated. A nightmare in the current energy crisis. Local services are buckling. Hospital wait times are rising. Mental health support is stretched thin. And schools are reporting overcrowding and staff shortages at alarming rates. Southampton is not falling apart, but it is under pressure from all sides: environmental, economic, and infrastructural. And for a city that once symbolized movement and opportunity, it now faces a future where standing still might be the most dangerous choice of all. Number 2. Coventry. Coventry is a city that knows how to rebuild. After being nearly flattened in World War II, it rose again from the ashes, proud, determined, and forward-thinking. But today, that fighting spirit is being tested by a new kind of pressure: rising violence, failing infrastructure, and a youth population dangerously close to being written off. Let's talk about crime. Coventry has experienced a sharp and disturbing increase in violent incidents over the past 5 years. Knife crime in particular has surged, with the city now reporting some of the highest knife-related offenses outside of London. Gang-related tensions have made some neighborhoods feel unsafe after dark, especially for teenagers and young adults. Behind the crime is something deeper: disconnection. Community programs have been slashed, youth centers closed, mentoring initiatives underfunded or canceled altogether. What's left is a growing number of young people with nowhere to go and no one to turn to. And the cracks don't stop there. Coventry's public transport system is aging and unreliable. Local buses run late or not at all. Potholes and neglected roads are common complaints. Schools are facing staffing shortages. Health services are overwhelmed. Even the basics feel broken. At the same time, Coventry is being hit by the same affordability crisis seen across the UK. Rent is up. Bills are climbing. Food prices keep rising. For many residents, the maths just doesn't add up anymore. Coventry has heart. No one questions that. But heart isn't always enough. Without urgent intervention, this city could go from recovering hero to a cautionary tale. It's not just about the past anymore. It's about whether Coventry can hold on to a future that feels increasingly out of reach. Number 1. London. It might seem outrageous to include London on a list like this. After all, it's the capital, the beating heart of the UK's economy, culture, and global influence. But here's the uncomfortable truth: London is becoming unlivable for ordinary people. Let's start with the basics. The cost of living in London has exploded. Average monthly rent for a one-bedroom flat is now over £2,000. And that's before utilities, groceries, or transport. Wages haven't kept up, and for the vast majority of Londoners, financial stress is a daily reality. But money isn't the only problem. Crime is rising. In fact, London's knife crime rate has hit record highs in recent years, with several boroughs seeing near-daily stabbings. Public confidence in safety is dropping, particularly among families and women commuting late at night. And despite heavy policing, the roots of the issue, inequality, disconnection, and youth exclusion, remain largely unaddressed. Gentrification is transforming entire neighborhoods. Once vibrant communities are being pushed out, replaced by luxury developments that stand half-empty. Local shops are vanishing. Cultural landmarks are bulldozed. The soul of London is being priced out. Even the air you breathe in this city can cost you. London exceeds legal air pollution limits on a regular basis. Respiratory issues are more common here than almost anywhere else in the UK. For all its beauty and opportunity, London is becoming a playground for the wealthy and a pressure cooker for everyone else. Many middle-class families are already leaving. More are considering it every day. London isn't collapsing, but it's transforming, and not for the better. If the trend continues, the real question isn't, Can you afford to live in London? It's, can you afford not to leave? And now it's over to you. Are you living in one of these cities or thinking of leaving? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We actually read them all. If this video opened your eyes, check out our last one. It dives even deeper into what's really going on in Britain. We pour serious time, research, and heart into every video. So if you found this valuable, please support us with just one click. Hit that subscribe button. It means the world.